The recent reports about homelessness at an all-time high in Massachusetts, and especially in the city of Boston, have prompted a very obvious question. Why is this number getting worse and not improving? One possible reason for this is that so many homeless people suffer from long-term or chronic homelessness. What this means is that a large majority of people who become homeless remain homeless for a very long time. They jump from one shelter to the next with no stable place to remain to call home.
So what happens is that they take up a bed almost every night.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones that are housed in emergency shelter all the time, and are the hardest to move out.
Why do homeless people stay homeless for so long? There are various possibilities.
You look at them and you can see that they've had a hard life. If they've been on the street as opposed to in the shelter system, it's even worse. A significant percentage of the people that stay on the street as opposed to sleep in a shelter at night have substance abuse issues.
Mm-hmm.
But not all. Some of them have mental health issues as well.
They're extremely low income.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. On the individual side, people who are chronically homeless tend to have a disability, and that could be a physical disability, a mental disability, and many have a history of chronic substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have multiple of those disabilities.
And those are usually the reasons why they remain homeless for the most part, right?
Yeah, those provide a lot of barriers to people to
Mhm.
find housing.
The average Joe probably doesn't take any of these factors into account. More specifically, the average college student walks by a homeless person on the street almost daily and doesn't give them a second thought.
I mean, I feel like we're just so used to seeing homeless people at this point that it's just like another thing that just happens in our daily lives and we don't take time to stop and think about it.
Much like the rest of the public, college students aren't aware of the pain and suffering that the chronically homeless deal with on a day-to-day basis.
I've volunteered at several places, but those are typically like 2 to 3 hour stints. It's very low interaction as far as myself personally to homeless people.
And in order to spread awareness, organizations such as homeless shelters ought to be willing to reveal to the public what they experience.
And like advertise about, oh, help the homeless, and like volunteer at a homeless shelter or give food to a food pantry.
But when trying to connect with the people who have the biggest impact on homelessness in Boston, I was surprisingly turned away. The man at the desk of the St. Francis House Day Center's 6th floor told me that there was, quote, absolutely no interviewing allowed, both with the homeless and the faculty there. The reasoning for this was that the members of the St. Francis House are in, quote, sensitive situations.
It was also pretty alienating to just only be allowed to, serve them food. Because sometimes you do really just want to sit down and talk. Maybe eat with them, that'd be pretty cool as well.
Covering up the truth about homelessness has strong implications on society. What the common bystander sees from homeless people is not what they truly are.
Sometimes they're noticeably drunk, or sometimes when they're men, I'm more wary. But normally if they're just sitting and not doing anything, it doesn't really bother me. I'm just sad. Sometimes I give them food and stuff.
Homeless people are much more than begging lunatics who haven't showered in days. They are human beings with feelings and stories and suffering that people do not see enough of. The public ought to know more about the critical condition of the homeless population.
I think you should, just because when we segregate ourselves, we're basically dehumanizing everyone. We're making it seem as though they're not on the same level as us, when in actuality that's not true in any way, shape, or form, nor is that even right. So honestly, there should be more interaction, because we need to figure out, okay, these are people like us and they need help, and we need to actually understand that they're just like you, just in a less situation.
And I think it would be helpful for understanding why certain people are homeless, and there's no reason that we should be kept separated from them unless they were dangerous. But other than that, I can't see any reason why there should be a hold on who they're allowed to interact with.
The first step to combating the rising homeless population is to spread awareness about chronic homelessness, and the easiest way to do that is through exposing the lives of the people enduring it.
I mean, I think what we have learned over time is that the more kind of detail-oriented you can get about what's going on with homelessness, and talking to people about specific needs and specific populations, as opposed to trying to lump everybody who finds himself homeless into one category and try to figure that out. So for example, we recently had an effort to try to house homeless veterans, and they have specific needs and they have specific resources. So we targeted homeless veterans when we were up to housing about 125 of them in a little over 100 days.
They volunteer, and that helps a lot. I mean, there's nothing that takes the place of one-on-one contact. We have a lot of volunteers here, as does St. Francis and especially Pine Street.
I don't know, it must be pretty dehumanizing for them as well. Like, not only to have to come and get food, but also to not be able to, I don't know, talk to people who are on this tier of working there. I don't know.
In addition, if homeless service providers permit communication between their clients and the public, they will be better informed about homelessness and how to help.
If they're willing to open up to you, I mean, definitely that's okay. But I mean, if some of them are not comfortable opening up, so I mean, then definitely just they should have their privacy. But I think it would be nice if we can start like talking to them about like how things are doing for them and how we can help.
It's time that people see and treat the homeless as equal human beings and not as ambivalent outcasts of society. For Foundations of Journalism, I'm Brianna Blair.